am I doing?
What are any of us doing? This is the morning swim show. We could call this a morning swim show, or we could just go with Swimming World Television, joined by Eddie Reese. Congratulations, Eddie, on it. It's a handshake. Thanks. Congratulations on another fabulous season and another fabulous summer with guys just tearing it up this summer, representing those Longhorns. Talk about being at ASCA, and give me one little nugget that you've learned this week at ASCA so far.
I learned that Jack Bowerly's wrong about his assessment as me as a roommate.
Yeah, I learned that Eddie Reese apparently is a pretty heavy snorer. Apparently.
Actually, in China, he has said that I have quit snoring. But see, Jack has complained about every roommate he's had. So that starts pointing not at the roommates, but at him. But I always love this meeting because you can learn a lot of things, and you learn from anybody and everybody. I just sat down for an hour with a young lady from Iran, and she's a physiologist. She's a lot smarter than I am, and we had a great talk about a lot of things.
A lot of people come here trying to pick up sets, trying to pick up workouts. Those aren't things that you track or write down. When you go up and talk, what are some of the points that you're trying to get across? What are some of the things that you want to share?
Actually, this time I know that feeling about workouts and sets, and in my first talk I did that.
Really?
Yeah, I just wrote down some of the things that we do, and then how you do different things but get the same results, and how you move into those different things. Like one of my favorite sets for our distance swimmers is 200 free on 2 minutes, 175 free on 2 minutes. And we do that in 10 rounds. Well, I looked at it, and we've tried it with 200 free on 2 minutes, 150 kick on 2 minutes. We only had one guy live through that 8 rounds. But that's kicking at like 112 or 113 per 100 pace. And that's, Michael Phelps can do that, not many other people. We've only had one guy do that. But there are, I just like the stacking effect, and I try hard to make training harder every year. I would like to think that my swimmers will work harder every year, and pretty much they do, but I don't want to put it all on their back so that they have to work hard to get better. I've got to help them in that hard work aspect.
Is it a harder work that you can put a number to? More yardage, less rest? I mean, how do you push that? How do you make them work harder?
You can make them work harder by the intensity you ask for, how you line up your sets. Like I've started adding things like, what happens when people do a real hard set? 3100s on a minute. All right, then the nenext 5 minutes they're doing nothing or swimming down. We'll do 3100s on a minute, and then we'll do 850s on 35 or 40 with a little more rest, where they've got to put their feet on the wall faster than whatever they're holding on the hundreds. If they're going 55s or 56s, then they have to hold 26s to their feet on the 50s. And when it shows them they can do it, it's a mental toughness thing, and it's a great physiological move. At least I think so. They're not too, psychologically, they're not real happy, but they understand what it's about, what it's for. I think that's a real key for today's swimmer. Tell them what you're doing, why you're doing, where it's going to take them, and you get better results out of them.
I once heard a quote from you via another coach, and I don't know if it's accurate, so if it's not...
If it's good, it's accurate.
Okay, that if the swimmers don't like it, then you're doing something right. Is that accurate?
Well, I used to say that If it makes them bleed from the face, it's good for them. Back in the old days, that's how we decided what was good for them. If it was something that they worked hard and didn't like it after it was over. Because they go real fast at the end, all those hard workouts go away. Or they become something they accept as part of the equation for success.
Let's take a step back to this summer. You've been on plenty of international staffs. You've had to make coaching decisions on relays that probably weren't favorable for some of the swimmers and maybe some of those swimmers' coaches. And this summer, there was a decision made with one of your swimmers involved. In the 4x100 freestyle relay, Dave Walters was the second place finisher in Indianapolis, and he wasn't part of that 4x100 freestyle relay. Was that a tough thing to be on the other side of, or did you understand that, you've been on the coaching side, the coaching staff side of that, where you had to make a call like that? What was your reaction in that situation?
Well, first of all, I was keeping up with him, and I knew Dave had strep throat, and I knew he was on 5 days of antibiotics that got over right before his 200. With the information that coaching staff had at that time, they'd have had the 100 free information. Even you could have figured it out.
Me.
Even you. And they didn't have enough information to take that risk, because if somebody told me 309 was going to win that relay, I'd have said 309's fourth or fifth. But 309.2 did win the relay. And I had no problem with the decision, and Dave didn't either. And we've talked about it since he's been back. You have to have enough information to go with somebody. And had Dave done nothing and not been sick, he'd have been on the relay. There'd have been no question about it.
Yeah. And it was the right choice, obviously, because they won the relay. Ultimately, that's the goal, and that's exactly what happened. I was just wondering, because it's a different perspective being not on the staff at that point. I was just curious.
It's always a different perspective, and you hate for that to happen. You hate for somebody to do so well all summer and think they're part of it and not make it. And understanding and accepting are two different animals.
I hesitate to bring up the topic, but I just got one suit question. So we're stepping into another era where we're going back to the old suits, and you've just spent a year recruiting a class that just got down to Austin, whose times are based on suited times. And now you're going into another year of recruiting where you're looking at all these different prospects and saying, well, this person goes this time, but what suit were they wearing? How does that come into play this season? Do you think that some coaches, maybe not even specifically yourself, are going to be surprised by the actual freshman class that they have? And how do you approach this new upcoming recruiting season, knowing that the rules have changed and the dynamic has changed?
Actually, I've had this conversation with a couple of the coaches from teams that we compete against at the NCAAs, and we definitely compete against recruiting, and we've gone over it just like you did. None of us can predict the future. If so, we'd have all gotten out of the market when the tech boom finished about 10 or 12 years ago. And to predict the future on a human animal is tough. I'm recruiting one guy that's never been in a tech suit. He's been real fast. I'm recruiting everybody else that's been in a tech suit. And they're all excited about jammers. And in the last week and a half, I've talked to them about, the latest rumor is FINA is interested in going from neck to knee like the women do it. And none of them want to do it. One swimmer said, says, I don't want to wear that kind of suit. If they went neck to ankle, I'd do it. He said, but looking good's part of it. And I thought that was great. I don't believe we're all concerned about it, but I do believe there are body types that will benefit from actually will lose less in the change than some other body types. And we know the body types. There are so many good swimmers out there. Sadly, we won't be able to evaluate them, maybe not by them getting better. My team and I have already talked about the new suits and jammers, and they love it. My team's very excited about it. Some of my guys have been more successful racing people in jammers than racing them in tech suits versus tech suits. So, you know, it gets back to plainly racing.
Last 2 seasons, Texas has been the runner-up at NC2As. Last year spent most of the year at #1. What has to change so that at the end of March, after NC2As this year, Texas is #1?
There's 3 days of the fastest meet on earth. Prelims and finals. We used to say you had to have 5 good sessions to win the meet, and 3 of them had to be the preliminary sessions. You had to get into where you can score. And the meet has become such that you can have 6 good sessions and you may not win. We swam great last year, as well as I could have dreamed, and I'm a good dreamer. And Auburn was better. And we don't feel bad about it. They were faster. Somebody beats us, and they beat us at our best. What else could we have done? And I don't want to, you know, you can point fingers, which we'd have been better here or there, but you're dealing with a human animal, and we all make mistakes. Even I do. Wait, no, I haven't yet.
Oh, of course not.
No, my wife's out there. She knows better now.
I have one more question, and it's a question that I've never asked you, but one that people ask me all the time. When is Coach Reese done? How will you know when it's time to walk away?
The better question is, how will I know?
Okay.
Well, it'll be when I quit having fun. Like this interview, I've been without laughter the whole time. And
I'm glad you could provide it for all of us, though. Thank you.
And when I'm not effective, if I don't get people to go faster, if I don't get people to value the right things in their life and value the things that the sport teaches them, if I'm not having fun, they're not getting better in the quest for life skills and for going faster, I'll be gone before anybody wants me to go.
Thank you so much for your time, Eddie. I really appreciate it. Swimming World Television, Eddie Reese, here at ASCA 2009.
And Garrett, doing a great job as usual.
Whoa. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.